regarding all of those things. Okay. So lastly, just a couple of sections of the Constitution for you. Now we're going to be looking at the High Court cases relating to state and Commonwealth lawmaking powers. So remember, you just need to know one example, but out of interest, we'll look at a few more. So I've just got section 7 and 24 here because it relates to the next case that we're going to look at. So section 7 outlines the matters related to the Senate in the Constitution. So the existence of the Senate, what the composition has to be, and how they will be chosen. So we can see directly chosen by the people of the state, voting until the Parliament otherwise provides as one electorate. Section 24, on the other hand, sets out the composition and matters related to the House of Representatives, our lower house. Now, our first case is the Roach case, and it's with regards to section 7 and 24 of the Constitution, which we just looked at. So in this case, Vicky Lee Roach was a prisoner serving a 6-year term of imprisonment. But in 2006, Commonwealth Parliament had passed an act that banned all sentenced prisoners from voting in elections, basically taking away these citizens' right to vote if they were charged successfully and found guilty of any criminal offense. So Roach was quite an advocate for political rights and being able to vote, and was really upset by the fact that they couldn't vote anymore. Previously, there was a 2004 act that only banned prisoners serving sentences of longer than 3 years from voting. But the 2006 act extended this ban to anyone at all that was in prison. Roach obviously had standing because Roach was directly affected by this law and took this matter to the High Court. So, the High Court actually found that the 2006 Act was inconsistent with the Constitution. It contradicted sections 27 and 24 that describe Senate and the House of Representatives, because it clearly states in those sections that Parliament must be directly chosen by the people. So to take away people's right to vote and elect members of Parliament is unfair and is unconstitutional. So we can see that constitutional interpretation occurred in this case. So their decision was to abolish the 2006 Act and declare it ultra vires, beyond the scope of the powers of Parliament. However, they said that the 2004 legislation banning prisoners from voting if they were serving longer than 3 years could remain for operation, because prisoners serving more than 3 years have committed more serious crimes and thus should not be a part of voting in elections. So Roach obviously was able to achieve a great thing and empower other prisoners, but Roach was still unable to vote because Roach was serving a 6-year imprisonment term. So in this case, with regards to what happened, obviously, due to the High Court's constitutional interpretation, the powers of the Commonwealth Parliament were actually reduced, and it was clearly decided and shown through this decision that Commonwealth Parliament can't just legislate as they please with regards to taking away people's powers to vote. Okay, our next case is the Brislin case. So part of Section 51 of the Constitution gave Commonwealth power to legislate with regards to postal, telegraphic, telephonic, and other like services. So basically technology. And this was a constitutional, this is a section of the Constitution. So this means that this makes this an exclusive power for the Commonwealth, okay? Belonging to the Commonwealth only. Now what happened was a Telegraphy Act was published by the Commonwealth Parliament that said all owners of radios had to have a license. However, Brislin had a wireless receiving set for a week without a license and was charged with a criminal offense. And of course, because Brislin had standing, challenged the validity of this act. Basically, Brislin's argument was that postal, telegraphic, telephonic, and other like services does not include radios. Now, the High Court had to interpret the Constitution again in order to decide this. And they decided that other like services would include broadcasting to wireless sets and radios. Therefore, this law was not unconstitutional. It's just that future technology could not be predicted when this section was created. And this is why this broad other like services, this term was included to refer to any other types of technology. So, by adding broadcasting to wireless sets to the meaning of the legislation, the Commonwealth's parliament powers was extended, and it shifted lawmaking powers away from the states to the Commonwealth, suggesting that legislating with regards to radios and broadcasting sets is not a residual power, but is an exclusive power held by the Commonwealth Parliament. So this might be the case example that you use to discuss, as it clearly indicates an extension of Commonwealth Parliament powers and reduction in state residual powers.